Hello everybody and welcome to my Swain video. There's been a lot of talk about the Swain rework recently. Is it good? Is it bad? How is it good? How is it bad? How are people doing good with it? Why don't people seem to like it? Well, to start this video, we're going to phrase this like a video essay. I'm going to make the argument that Swain is actually quite good. He's just not good the way people seem to like it. Now, to defend my case that Swain is actually good, I have been playing a lot of Swain games recently, and I have been looking at Swain one tricks and all that stuff, and he actually has managed to get a 52% win rate with 3,461 games reporting in Plat Plus. Is that insane? No. Is that incredible? No. However, this means quite decidedly this champion is not bad. Despite being the 31st highest picked champion, meaning he's not popular really, he has maintained a player base that is playing him really good. How are they doing that? Well, let's talk about this. Swain has become the premier drain tank. By that I mean, as we reach into the later stages of the game, he becomes a drain tank. He heals a lot, he does a lot of CC and pulls, and has a lot of control into fights. He's a drain tank. He's not a super high damage champion, he's a drain tank. So, to start, this the rest of this video, if we want to call it that, how does Swain feel worse and yet he is way stronger? So before we go into this, everyone make sure to like, everyone make sure to subscribe, and everyone make sure to leave a comment down below about your thoughts and all that stuff. Right before we want to go into this, I do want to say that Swain's win rate is likely inflated. If you were to first pick him too often, or if people were to start learning, his win rate would likely go down. I don't think he's overpowered. I think he's quite playable, and I think he's a good, solid addition for one-trickable champions that people can play. So let's go into this. Swain has become much better at surviving the early game than before. If we want to look into this, during the April 27th hotfix, he got 3 more armor and 5 more movement speed. That is pretty solid. 5 more movement speed allows him to actually walk away from melee champions and not just get instantly run down. I mean, he still will get run down. He'll just get run down less bad, and the armor helps with that as well. But in addition, the bonus health per soul fragment went to 12 from 5. For those of you who know, his ultimate doubles the amount of health he gets from soul fragments. So during his ultimate, it went from 10 to 12, but he also lost the flat health bonus from his ultimate. So in his ultimate, he has less health than before. So how does this help him? How does this make him tankier? The first E you hit gives you 12 health instead of 5. That means if you haven't reached level 6 yet, you're tankier. You have more health, you have more armor, you have more movement speed. In other words, he's much better at surviving the early game than before. It used to be when playing Swain that you were guaranteed to die. There was just nothing you could do. If you ever brought Swain into top lane, or even realistically mid lane, you were going to die. And playing Swain came down to, can I minimize the amount of deaths that I have? And you don't need to die anymore. It's still difficult to try to keep him alive 100% of the time, but he's just become much better at surviving the early game. In addition, Swain's ultimate now offers insane levels of teamfight control. Now, I want to clarify this because a lot of people don't really understand this. Swain's best second item has become Rylai's, by far. If you look at the Rylai's patch history, over season 10 into 12, it went through a number of changes. And this is important because Swain got reworked, and then he got another mini rework, and then he got another mini rework, and then he got the larger rework again. So a lot of people that play Swain haven't really kept up to date with his items and that stuff, and they just try to force things like Demonic Embrace, and they go, well, I used to do this on him, but no. Rylai's is by far his second item. Because Rylai's is now a 30% slow applied every tick of his ultimate. If we remember down here, Swain's ultimate can now go infinite. It can now last indefinitely, forever. This means in a giant sphere around Swain, and I'll explain this a bit later on, but in a giant sphere around Swain, he can now slow everyone by 30%. In fact, I want to launch the game. And I'm gonna log in, and we're gonna go into the test realm of Swain, because a lot of you don't really, I think it would help to visualize this, because when I say his ultimate offers insane levels of teamfight control, I really mean it is a lot of teamfight control. Okay, the infinite duration of it, and I mean the infinite duration means he can keep applying Leandries and potentially Demonic Embrace dot if he gets that, so he can dot everyone up. He applies the Object part into bronze challengers. Okay, I mean that's a thing. Okay, challenges are here. Yes, I understand. Please don't bring me to challenges. I don't want to be there. Okay, so I'm gonna do this because I think it would really help you guys visualize. I want you guys to really visualize this. Okay. By the way, brief addendum. Crystal Rose Swain. These two chromas, pretty solid. Is it his best skin? Maybe not. I haven't really tested all his skins, but those ones are pretty solid to me. I know this is a little bit of a break in the video, and we're keeping it rolling, but I really want to help you guys visualize this because it's super important to understanding why he's good. I probably should have loaded this up earlier. You know, probably should have done that, but you know, there you go. Ooh, wait, no, we need to actually buy Rylai's. That would be pretty solid. Let's get the Landry's too, just so you guys can visualize it. And let's add a target dummy here and here and here. And if I pop this ultimate, this is why I wanted to help visualize this. This is a lot of area that is being permanently slowed by 30%, that is being permanently not, I mean, his ultimate doesn't really deal that much damage. It's less than even a Sunfire Cape, right? But you have the Landry's Anguish Dot, you've got the Rylai, so this is a lot going on here, okay? And the fact that it lasts indefinitely, and the fact that he's even got a Demon Flare to do a burst slow on it, he can do one Demon Flare and burst slow people. This is a lot of control for a dude. So let me walk out of here, and I'll keep this up because I want to show you guys some more stuff here. But the low damage, and this is what I've been trying to say, the low damage is compensated by I know CC means crowd control, but CC and control. I know crowd control, CC means crowd control, so I'm saying crowd control and control, but you know what I mean. So when you're in your ultimate, if you remember, he gained the effect that his E cooldown is reduced by 20%. So that's an 8-second cooldown potential slow. That's pretty solid, right? I mean, especially with the fact that Landry's gives you ability haste and then more ability haste, an 8-second cooldown pull. That's good. That's a root. That's a pull. That's the AoE slow, everything around that. You got your W, which at max rank can be a 65% slow. And this is important, guys, because damage is really high right now, and it'll still be high next patch. It'll just be less one-shotty. Slowing people, slowing an AD carry, pulling an AD carry generally guarantees that your team is going to be able to kill them. So if I'm doing this, if I'm dragging this aggro, if I'm sitting kind of in the back of the fight being really hard to kill, and I can pull people every so often, I can do that, that's a lot of control over the team fight. In addition to that, Swain has received much stronger healing. This lets him just stay alive longer. This lets him sit in the middle of everything and just do this stuff for much longer periods of time. I can quit out of here because I don't really need this anymore, but I think that was a good visualization. I'm hoping you guys understand just how impactful Swain can be. Let's look at his healing. His healing went from 20 to 50 to 15 to 65, but the AP ratio on his heal went from 16% to 25%. That a 25% heal per second per target. Now, a lot of you guys who have played the old rework, or a lot of you guys who played old Swain, you probably think his ultimate is restricted to only healing off 3 enemies. It's actually not. You can heal off as many people as you are around, 100%. If there's 5 people around you, you'll be healing off all 5 targets. You can be healing upwards of 600-700 health a second. I mean, that's a bit high end, but yeah, actually you can. And obviously there's healing debuffs, and obviously there's stuff like that, but you continue to heal, even in an hourglass. You will, no dots, no conditional AoE damage is going to affect you. You'll always be at full HP until you start getting burst, and you've got that Rylai's to disengage, you got the Demon Flare to disengage. This is just a lot of healing, control, I'm saying this, it's a lot of teamfight control. He's a drain tank. He's not the solo carry, but let's be clear, in solo queue, it's pretty damn rare that anyone is actually the solo carry. You could be a 10-0 champion and you can still just straight lose the game, okay? So, in addition to that, his passive, if you remember, at level 16, gained an additional rank on his passive where he now heals 9% of his health instead of 7. In the old Swain, he was locked. Once you reach level 11, you healed 7% of your health, nothing more. New Swain can get to level 16 and heal 9%. So That's more healing. His ultimate heals more. He's got way more CC. He's got way more control. This just adds up a lot. So now let's talk about Swain's runes. And this will probably be me helping you actually learn how to play Swain and what people are doing. Now I'm not the best Swain player. I don't say that I'm the best Swain player. I'm not arguing I'm the best Swain player. But what I can do is I have a skill. I have a talent. I have something that enables me to do things very well. I copy people who are really good at the champion. I look at what they're doing and I say, that's smart. I'm going to do that again. So let's look at what Swain players are doing. The most popular build right now, I believe, is actually Phase Rush. Phase Rush doing a build like this, and often runes like this or this. Now let's go into this one here. So why Phase Rush? And this goes into what I was talking about earlier. Much better at surviving the early game. Phase Rush, you use 3 abilities, you get movement speed and slow resist. This allows you to disengage out of a dangerous early game murder on you, and in the late game, this enables you to just have more mobility, because remember, Swain, he's a pretty slow dude, he doesn't have any movement speed buffs, he's got nothing like that, okay, but you know what he does have? He's got Phase Rush. Mana Flow Band enables him to get mana, so he doesn't run out of mana, because, well, let's be fair, they did buff his mana a lot, but it can still be pretty bad. Transcendence is just solid. More ability haste means more ease, means more Ws, means more passives, means more CC, means more control. Some people go Scorch, particularly at the higher ranks. Scorch gets more popular because the early game is more popular, but Gathering Storm is also insanely popular. The AP ratios on his heals add up, and they can start being pretty good. Over here in this tree, the most common build is Conditioning Overgrowth to make him way tankier in the late game, because what's better than healing a lot? Having more resistances, so those heals mean more. Overgrowth, in addition, gives him more health. More health means his passive heals for more. Everybody gets that, right? Also makes him tankier so he doesn't get burst as hard. Now, at the higher ranks, once again, the early game tends to be a bit more important, so some people will slide in Bone Plating. Particularly if they're fighting something like a Jax or an Aurelia, Bone Plating is a difference between being dead and, well, not being dead. The really good thing here is double adaptive into armor. Some people go with attack speed to get smoother auto attacks, to last hit under turret better, to last hit period better. These things are pretty solid. It's a pretty solid build on Swain. The other build, which does worse but can sometimes be better, is Conqueror, because he does, again, have pretty good AP ratios, but his damage is low, so the Conqueror healing tends to not do too much. He also, because his his pull doesn't do damage, he doesn't get that stack of Conqueror from that anymore, so it can be a bit harder to stack. Presence of Mind just lets him keep mana for the laning phase or stuff like that. Legend Tenacity, I mean, that's good on tanks. And then Last Stand, because he'll always kind of be a low HP. And that's kind of this build. So those are your 2 different builds. That's what you can do. I think both of these are actually pretty solid choices. As for items on Swain, I'm going to do what's called a pro gamer move. And I'm just going to show you guys this one. Because, yeah, the best build on Swain, period, is Liandry's first. Please, I do not go Riftmaker. You are trolling. It is stupid. He does no damage. Riftmaker is awful. Liandry's Anguish first is really solid. Second, some of you guys aren't going Rylai's and you're going Hourglass. I get it. Hourglass is pretty solid on him. Here's the problem. Just go Rylai's. It is so good. It is instrumental. Unless you need Hourglass, and you will not survive without Hourglass, which is a possibility. That can happen. But unless that happens, you need to go Rylai's for that slow, so that in team fights, you can supply your team with the tools that Swain is actually good at doing. You have a win condition as Swain. To be a tanky little bitch fuck that sits in the middle of team fights, pulling squishy people into your teammates to kill them. You're the general. You're Swain. Rylai's is good. Third item is a toss-up. If you haven't gotten Rylai's and you need Rylai's third, you must get Rylai's by your third item. Hourglass, solid. Demonic Embrace is... The AP ratio, Demonic Embrace is much lower than you would think it would be. And I'm going to be honest, I've not ever been that impressed with Demonic Embrace coming out late game for me. I'm going to be dead honest. Now, I did for the longest time try to do Rabadon's Death Cap and Void Staff. I did for the longest time try to do that. The problem is, Look, Swain's AP ratios are so low, there's basically no way you're going to try to keep Swain's damage relevant. No amount of items that you build, no amount of try-harding will enable you to do that. So what I would recommend is just give up on it. And that's basically what other people have done, as you see here. So Leandri's, Hourglass, Rylai's, Demonic, those are your core items. After that, it seems to basically be a toss-up between a bunch of wackiness, but Morellonomicon for the healing debuff, because you're AoEing a healing debuff onto their entire team. That's pretty solid for your team. Next patch, this might change, but Spirit Visage, in addition to that, is pretty solid. Magic Resist, so you don't get burst. A solid Kachunka HP, Ability Haste. And again, you heal a lot, so bonus healing is pretty solid. So what would your core build then be? What would your default set of 5 items being? Just copying what better people are doing, but also what I've personally found to be pretty good for myself. It's a pretty solid choice to go Leandri's Anguish, Rylai's, Hourglass, Demonic Embrace, Spirit Visage. As for boots, despite the win rates, I'm going to be honest, I still think Plated Steel Caps is the best. Sark Shoes have an advantage because remember, Swain, you're primarily targeting squishies, whereas Sark Shoes excels. But Merc Treads is also good, so you don't just get stun locked. Really, it comes down to choice. The stats have shown that Sark Shoes is the best, but I can't help but feel that the people going Sark Shoes and therefore driving up its win rate. And I know all of you guys, you go here and you look at it and you think high win rate, good boots. But the thing is, this is just my opinion. Maybe other people disagree with me. If we look up at the higher ranks, we can see the pick rate of Sark Shoes does not really, I mean, there's so few games here, so don't look at these win rates. We're looking at 72 matches, 45 matches. But as we go up, even into Masters, the majority of people are still going Plated Steel Caps. So often, win rates can be deceptive. If Swain wins early game and he's got a lead and he goes Sark Shoes, then obviously he's going to have a higher win rate. But if he plays a normal game from behind and he's getting crushed, then it drives down the win rate on Plated Steel Caps, despite the fact that they're his best default purchase. So that's the boots. And in all honesty, that's Swain. That's Swain. He's solid, and he's just doing really... He's doing good. He's actually... I promise you, he's actually doing good. By the way, the Masters Plus players pretty much agree with me on this one. Leandri's Anguish, Hourglass, Rylai's, depending on what you need, into Demonic, into Morellonomicon, or Spirit Visage. That's a solid core build. I think this is solid. That's a core build that's really good. Those are the rune builds that are really good. That is Swain. So that is a Swain rework. Do you want to learn how to play the Swain rework? Well, this is the video. So thank you all for watching this. And make sure to like, make sure to leave a comment down below. This is probably, I've done this all in one take, even though I've probably done like 5 actual takes of this. I normally organize my thoughts and then I do like 4 or 5 takes of a video. And then by like the 5th take, I'm like, I nailed it. I got it. Like I know the flow and I've like basically rehearsed it enough that I'm like, I'm satisfied with this. This is all done in one take. And I did this because a lot of you guys, I've looked at in my analytics that you guys were searching Swain Rework. And I see it in my chat all the time. You guys are saying, Swain Rework, is it good? What's going on? Is Swain Rework good? And I keep arguing, yeah, actually, it kind of is. It's just not what people wanted. When they thought Swain, they thought big, they basically thought Magic Aatrox. A champion who can burst people and do damage with burst healing. They didn't think dude who sits kind of in the middle of a team fight pulling people while being hard to kill and just kind of healing and being tanky. They didn't think that. They didn't think low damage, drain, tank with an emphasis on tank and drain and not damage. So yes, actually, he feels worse to a lot of people, but he's actually way stronger. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I hope you guys found this video to at least be a little bit helpful if you want to learn Swain top. I would recommend banning Aurelia. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.